Today's war game was a scenario concerning the ongoing invasion of Russia against Ukraine. And we are deep into the second year into the war game, and it was laying out the scenario in 2023 of how the battlefront looked and potential political and diplomatic and situational, social, and military issues on the ground and surrounding the aspects of the war game. So you take all that, and then you have the scenario. You have units and issues going on, and the different teams, and there were four: Russia, the U.S., NATO, and Ukraine. And you take all these in moves, both political, diplomatic, strategic, which is so important because war isn't just the fighting on the ground, it's everything around it. And then the actual fighting on the ground, and the operational plans, and and everything with the variations and variables is, we would say in the military, I'm a retired military officers, no plan survives contact with the enemy. We are simulating the Russian offensives into Ukraine, Ukrainian reactions to that. And then you roll dice when there are battles that determine the outcome for the fight, and usually over a piece of terrain, a piece of ground that is important to one side or the other.
So on the one hand, we are playing a war game, and for me as Ukrainian, it might feel a little bit surreal, because I'm living through the real war, and my family is going through real challenges of the current situation in Ukraine. And how can you play a game about that when, as a country, we are losing people every single day? But at the same time, it's a great way to understand better and reflect on what's possible, what's not possible. And in the morning, I asked the question, so what's the ultimate goal for us as a group? And I think the goal is exactly to go through that process and to see where things can be improved, even right now.
So some of the highlights today, I think, were the importance in the exercise today of the mobilizations undertaken by both Ukraine and Russia, and then the impact of the mobilizations on the outcome of the battle during the exercise. The other aspect I think that was particularly salient was the role of the information domain and the attempts by all sides to use information with the public or with elites or with their own populaces to convince them of their rationale, their political, strategic rationale for waging the conflict.
On the third turn, we went through our political phases and constantly working as best we can within the world and our partners and friends about more support, more diplomatic support, wherever we can, more weapons. And then in the operational side, and we had a little bit of an epiphany. While there were more of them, the Russians had exposed their northwestern flank of Luhansk. And we were 10 minutes away from making a decision to attack towards the Crimea and try to cut Crimea off from Russian-occupied Crimea from the mainland. And then we all of a sudden had an epiphany. Look how seemingly unmanaged, unguarded the Russian right flank was. They had people there, but the bulk of their forces were south. And we said, let's just throw caution in the wind and just go for it. And then in the last turn, we liberated Luhansk.
In the morning, I felt at some moment a little bit uncomfortable because I was like, how can we play about that? But but I think it's a great tool for analysis, and I'm sure that we are a very diverse group with very different experience, but very powerful experience, and I think bringing all of those experiences together, it makes picture much more compelling and from different angles, and yeah, I appreciate being invited here.